$100 million money models. Many others in the Mosey verse, as he likes to call it. I was super stoked to see the launch and had my mind completely blown by the book launch itself and was convinced enough to make the investment in the playbooks, in the ACQ AI, and the implementation workshop, that whole bundle, $6,000 bundle, acquisition.com, cool goodness, pretty legit. It's been eye-opening. And in today's video, I'm going to share some of my initial remarks. So let's get into Miro. I've got this screenshot here, like the big idea, right? We've got Hormozy saying, listen, you've got 4 different primary types of offers that can compose these money models: attraction, upsell, downsell, and continuity offers of these reoccurring models. And I'll be honest, it has challenged a lot of my thinking. And I went into it, admittedly, I was thinking, I've got a basis of understanding for this type of thing. But the deeper I've gone into it, it actually has challenged a lot of what I thought I knew, and the way I'm approaching things is just likewise. The offers book did the same thing, and his leads book did the same thing. So this is one of those slower burns, I think, that I'm working to understand and apply rapidly. But I think it's one of those things that it's dense, right? It's not something that you can just sit down in one sitting, get all the insight and walk away from. The idea of an attraction offer is, on the surface, makes all the sense in the world. But dude, I'm telling you, it's challenging. I've spent a lot of time, the Hormozy AI, the ACQ AI, working to flush out an attraction offer. And I'm like going between ChatGPT 5 and the ACQ AI, and then working to model things out, just stress test it. And I'm pretty sure we've landed on a rough cut of what this is. So right now in the free community, we're running a couple different things, but basically the big idea is come to the free community and I'll give you the primary thing, the central element of my work as a fractional COO is a strategy execution system. And I'll give you the first part of that. We've worked to just establish a couple things, giving away the books, though it has been really cool. Doing this ACQ AI free thread has been interesting. But as I've worked to just build out some of the fundamentals, like our nurture sequence, which admittedly needs a version 2 already, but it's holding. We've tried a few kind of cool things on this front. We're helping people with their offers, leads, and money models by taking what they provide and run that through the ACQ AI and then giving them the output plus a Loom video. But all that stuff was just experimentation. The main thing is, can we provide literally the same intake that we've been using for a while in various forms for years, help our free members build out a growth plan that identifies their primary constraint, the playbook they need to apply to solve for that constraint, to scale through it. So far, it's been interesting. The big idea is that using N8N, using a few automation tools, a lot of this be fully automated, and a lot of it's AI enabled right now. It's very lean from an operations standpoint. It's very efficient. So delivering this big chunk for free was a no-brainer. It's what we've done for a long time. And that's basically, hey, listen, we'll do a growth plan. So you'll get a deck that's produced in a video. So you get a 3-minute Loom video covering the deck at version 1, and then you basically just click, provide feedback. You give your feedback and then book a call with yours truly, and then we'll sync up. We'll go into sales mode, aka clarity call, strategy session, whatever you want to think of it as, and we'll zero in on what your next steps are. And the big idea is, listen, I'll give you a version 2 for free. So we'll come to the call, we'll look over version 2, And you can just walk with that and stay in the community as long as you want. There's plenty of mechanisms in the free community to continue delivering value. For example, this whole thing. I think, I took a step back to just think, how can we make this more effective? And I'm going to double down on this. And I'm pretty stoked. So I think this idea is an extension of the this thread, which has had some positive input out of the gates. And I think there's a precedent for that. Like, I've seen a number of others doing it successfully, and I think it makes sense. It's a great way to learn and build immediate connection and deliver immediate value with the users. But the big idea is we'll help build out your growth plan, and I'll even do a full revision for free and meet with you for 45 minutes to give you my own time. We could talk through it. And then, quote, worst case scenario, it's not the right time. You're not in the buying window. You don't want to move forward. That's fine. You stay in the free community and just keep executing. If you do move forward, I'm like staring down the barrel at this. I told my wife the other day, my brain has been broken by a lot of this book and the course, and it's challenged a lot of my thinking. And it's interesting. On the one hand, Hormozy says that you want to get enough revenue from an attraction offer to cover the cost of acquisition for the customer and two others in 30 days. And that's hardcore. But then on the other hand, if you even open the book to page 19, to the very first page introducing attraction offers, he talks about the difference between free and discount. He basically uses them interchangeably, and $1 very close to free, so you can discount it 100%, all this type of stuff. And I've seen a few others talking about a dollar system, a dollar access. Translating a lead to a buyer is a big idea. The high ticket consulting thing, high ticket coaching, all that stuff, obviously I'm a fan of to a certain extent. But I am so deeply grounded in the reality that most solopreneurs are facing, which is trust is at an all-time low. For many is at an all-time low, or available cognitive load is at an all-time low. And concern about technology and feeling left behind, these things, and constantly disappointed. I think that's a big part of it, is disappointed with marketing being the big business of any service provider's business. And when you get behind the curtain, you're like, is that it? Is that really it? Hormozy aside, there's not that many notable figures that really over deliver. So many of these YouTube hype guys use that language, but they still don't over deliver for real. There's some notable exceptions, but it's been my experience that agencies, consultants, freelancers, the promise is a lot bigger than the fulfillment. And I just am afflicted by that. So that's why we started doing a year ago the whole idea of a full venture map in a month for $100. That was fully guaranteed, and huge undertaking. And after a dozen of those, actually, we had people tell us don't do it, because before there was a $4,000 project. Before that, it was a $12,000 project. Before that, it was it would take us months to deliver, and we were charging 10, 12, 16,000 a month for, 22,000 a month for, in certain fractional COO engagements. Vision for this type of work has been, frankly, centered on workforce disintermediation, that it shouldn't be so expensive to have a always-on digital twin of your business. It shouldn't be so expensive to have and difficult to have really exceptional project management and strategy management as a whole, like a clearly formulated best practice strategy that's operationalized through project plans, through operations management, and having a best-in-class culture day to day that supports focused execution on those tasks. Rolls in emerging technologies like AI and automations and agentic systems to support the production of work, to actually support task execution. in the wild, like in the operating environment. That's been a big idea, and we've been in our work for a long time to shift value downstream as we've gotten so much of an uplift internally with these new AI technologies, 100x uplift. We have to be very intentional about allowing that to shift downstream as to further differentiate ourselves and challenge what's possible, but get closer to outcomes-based work where we're taking responsibility for larger and larger segments of business systems. And that's because I think what we're working to establish is the self-optimizing enterprise platform for improving business blueprint. And it's one thing to have a bunch of innate in automation templates or some AI vibe coding interfaces and functionality. It's another thing to have some cool funnel or a white labeled CRM, but to have all of that tied together, coherent, cohesive, effective outbound and inbound lead generation and content marketing and lead nurture and referral generation, all that stuff. It's like that doesn't exist anywhere. And that's a problem. So we've been working to solve that problem for ourselves for a long time. And so far, I'll tell you, the lessons learned from this book have been pretty, and I'm grateful for, though it has, I've lamented a little bit just how it feels like one step forward, two steps back in some regards. We've had to take a step back and think, how do we reinvent ourselves? How do we really focus on the main thing, that constraint concept? I know this wasn't in the brief. Let's see. This took the screenshot directly from the implementation workshop. This whole concept is so brilliant, identifying the constraint in the business and then basically moving to say, how do we solve that? And you think, okay, this is from the ACQ AI. What are the main constraints that you'll find at any point in time? And got them listed out here. You can pause it, but it's basically going from upstream to downstream. And it's wild stuff. So what I've been working on for a while, man, this is the thing that is like, it's literally on my task list right now, and I'm wanting to do it because it's frankly a bit overwhelming, is what I call the systems array project. And dang, it's hardcore. I started working on the idea of, hey, listen, we need to track metrics at each phase of the customer journey. Obviously, there's different systems for that, right? The phases that we've been able to identify and standardize, there's 10 phases for an acquisition and 6 in post-purchase or fulfillment. And then systems mapped to that, we basically have lead gen, nurture, sales, onboarding, fulfillment, or customer success rather, and referral. It's like some of the primary systems that we see in the business. And then within that, from the SaaS sales method book, we were able to start kind of contextualizing metrics for each of these. The conversion one is, and it's like unit of time one. And that took a little while and a bit of thinking. Marketing qualified lead, conversion 2, et cetera, and it just goes down the list. And this isn't fixed for every business, but it was helpful to start mixing in different practices because we learned a lot from Joey Coleman on these phases, Donald Miller on the phases, Russell Brunson, and a few others. And the SaaS sales method helped us a good deal. But this is taking it to a completely different level. Hormozy's work on the constraint stuff, and this is all what we got with the playbooks. And this idea of finding the constraint is so intense. What I've done is I basically, just to kind of bring it into a context that makes sense, is basically do this, right? It's basically going to allow us to say, okay, your constraint is here. It's basically in traffic and booking, right? Or in sales or in shows or in whatever. And we'll identify that through known paths, right? There's a known mechanism. And it's all done through metrics. So that's another reason there's kind of two sides of the coin. We need to get really crisp in our metrics tracking, the metrics that really matter, because that's what informs the intake. Basically what informs the intake. So I got to translate this out of these white documents to make better sense of it, and to help out the community. But this is the idea that Hormozy's AI is basically saying, we'll know. This is like a constraint finder framework that I've been putting together for myself and for my clients. So we can say, okay, cool, we got to really zero in into this area. And because of that, we've got to use this playbook and this type of solution to solve the primary constraint, to blast through the logjam in a high leverage capacity. And then we literally come in here and flush that out using a combination of AI and just old-fashioned elbow grease, but always building on best practices, on benchmarked industry standard, industry leading, I should say, frameworks and methodology to expedite the process. So I'm honestly a bit intimidated by this attraction offer, but I'm telling you, I really think we need it. I've got some good takers on the free communities offer right now, which is, hey, we'll give you your first growth plan for free. And again, I've thought about this yesterday. I'm like, man, I have been a believer in the necessity, being the mother of invention for so long. And I know that I've been dreading getting back into innate sync required for the learning. Building and learning at the same time just takes a long time. And I know I need to keep pushing ahead in that space. And that's why I've been just giving more. It's one of the drivers, I should say, of shifting a lot of it downstream, in addition to the strategic implications long term of differentiation and building trust and just skating to where the puck is going ultimately. But it's like, I know that if I'm pinched with having to produce a lot of this stuff manually, or it's AI enabled, right? I'm driven by efficiency, like laziness in one regard, because if I have to, it takes 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. And if I end up having to keep on doing that, then piece by piece of it, I streamline it, I productize it, I automate it. And that's what we need, right? We basically need, and I say we as in myself, the VentureMap team, all of the members in the VentureMap Elite, VentureMap Operator, and I believe members in the free community, we basically need a way to say, here's my growth plan over 3 years, 1 year, 90 days. And these are the things I'm going to focus on in 90 days. And that's driven by what I'm seeing as a founder, right? I have a pretty clear idea on where I'm at and what I need, but also the intelligence that we have access to through the large language models and our ability to track data effectively. So we're building the scaffolding that'll allow us to track data and then field that through the AI system so we can have this hybrid, this integrated growth plan that's equal parts the human or end user input and the data-driven objectives, the data-driven elements of the plan will come to the forefront because that's what matters most. We don't want to make decisions based on ego and instinct alone. We want to make data-driven decisions. And then for having that whole thing productized, so you basically get your free growth plan same day, and then have that same day or next day booking availability, where we just get on live, we ham it up, and after the call, no matter what, you're getting an update, or even we'll probably make it so even by the time you come to the call, the update's already done because the revision process is so slick, right? It's like you literally are just, you see your video and you just click, cool, let's go. You can speak directly to it, you can type it, and this is all proof of concept stuff. The vibe coding app that I've been working on in Replit for months, now it's still in that purgatory of bug fixing, is going to be even better. So once you finally just keep throwing credits and time at it, we'll break through and it'll get even more efficient, certainly on the back end. This whole thing will be automated. You'll basically have a version 2, Gates, and I really believe that for a while, until we have a stupid amount of social proof and learnings, I think a big part of that we can't overlook is the learnings and development that will come by necessarily running this dozens and dozens of times, hundreds of times, it'll be so much tighter and so much more effective. It'll go up in price naturally. We'll shift it, stack it, move in a different direction, or maybe it'll stay $1 forever. Who knows? I mean, it's one of those things it's already a big screening mechanism is the opt-in, and then like a pre-qualification is putting a bit of friction there. So it's a big promise, but it's okay. Go through a 5-minute intake, and people that do that, it's okay. These are people that we could probably work with, and we do our best to give them back really a high resolution, high fidelity, effective version 1 growth plan. Then people that have the ability to review a custom branded, fully personalized growth plan for their business, to sit down and review a 3-minute video of that, hit like 2 buttons from there, 3 buttons, and just indicate a sign of life, much less provide meaningful feedback for revision. Those are people that we want to work with, because that's how we actually build out full strategy execution systems within the business that will consistently identify constraints and blast through them. That's how you scale. Yeah, so this whole element here, basically our mid funnel, is in the process of being fully productized. And then there will always be a human element where I'll be doing manual DMs and posting and stuff like that, and a direct channel to connect with people. I haven't seen anyone doing this type of thing, and maybe for good reason. But let's see, yeah, driving to this, like jump on a live call through video ads is a great feature that I always think I don't want to book a call. Maybe it's just me, but I don't want to commit like tomorrow at 3 p.m. to jump on the phone with somebody or Zoom, because maybe something comes up. Maybe I want to actually be working on something else, whatever. So if I'm in it and I want to connect, I can only connect right then and there, but not with a chat bot. I would like to just, if I can, talk to someone right then and there. Otherwise, I would like to do async. So trying out mechanisms like this, if I'm in the middle of a workflow, Mosey talks about speed to lead and availability being some of the big factors there in this playbook. And those are some experiments. A lot of this is experimental. But anyways, we'll finish up. I think we'll be green here in our mid-funnel sequence for what is effectively 1 part lead generator, 1 part attraction offer. And then what we'll have very soon is all of our cold email will be driving. I'm pretty sure we'll just do lead generator, and we'll do like free webinars, like workshops, I think we'll call it. I think what we need in here is like a bi-weekly webinar, maybe even more regular, but a webinar workshop type of structure where I'm just doing live training and running through the deck and running through a training on stuff and like what strategy execution is and how to create a system of it. And then the big idea is, hey, you can actually get the entire do-it-yourself system for just $1. And it's just going to be a ridiculous offer that's so good you can't say no to it. It's just going to be insane. And that'll get a bunch of people to go through. We'll learn a lot. We'll develop a lot. It will necessitate development and refinement and efficiency on my side in order to make it happen and it not to become a full-time job. Backing myself into the corner in that regard. And I've done that for much of my work in this business over the years. So this will effectively be an active area of thinking, because I did have it in his order, right? His order is attraction, upsell, downsell, continuity. And ACQ AI has told me to hold continuity until the back end. But I have a sense, my sense is that I want to keep trying what I have been doing over the last year, which has been effective, and because it's building trust. And I'm contrasting that with and incrementally building a track record for over delivering. Basically, I would start people at the free community level and just deliver an insane amount of value. Actual service, doing what people have paid me for, but just doing that for free. And then be like, oh, you can get even more in the paid side. I'll just do even more service for you for free, just as a bonus and whatnot. That's been pretty solid, but it's been a good way for us to front load members and admittedly keep a lot of them over the last year. And then from there, after a while, a lot of the stuff that I gave for free is like a way to teach them and train them and familiarize them for the higher level offer and operator. And that's 1,000 a month. So then it's, hey, listen, you get 30 days back, money back guarantee. It's unconditional. If you're not happy at the end of the month, whatever, let me know. No hard feelings. And I'll give you a refund. Tons of time, tons of bandwidth associated with this. And I will have to just shout him out, the Design Joy guy. His course on Productize Me was super enlightening on this whole thing. And these are my words, my interpretation of it, but he basically defines this productized service where it's unlimited design of websites, right? Website designs, where he'll do one thing at a time, unlimited revisions, unlimited requests, but he'll just do one thing at a time. So it's in a Trello board, and you'll literally just load up what you want and drag it into the current task. And he'll do that within 2 days or so. And you can either just say, cool, next, and just load up like a conveyor belt of things for him to work on, or have him redo stuff. And that agility at the task level is such an elegant and effective way to manage scope, because it provides agility at the task level and predictability at the bandwidth levels. That's kind of jargon, but one of the most difficult things as a freelancer, a consultant, a fractional is to manage scope. And obviously you want to over deliver, but you can't burn yourself out. You can't give 100 hours a week for breadcrumbs. Outside of it being a really strategic, intentional thing, like early on doing case study work, whatever. But to build a profitable business, you need to be profitable. So this has been a really cool space for us. Part of the realization I've had over the years, I should say, is the importance of having an integrated series of planning horizons. So we know where we want the company to go in 3 years, 1 year, 90 days, a month, a week, and a day. To be able to see that really clearly and have it be adaptable and evolve, that's really important, because no matter what, every business needs to have a competent management layer that enables the formulation of strategy and the execution of it. That's how you build organizational maturity. That's how you build a sellable business. And I know that because I've been right-hand man alongside of an organization that was sold in the functional medicine space at a pretty solid multiplier. And I've also seen where I was right hand for another business in the fitness space that was sold at a great loss, because it was missing that same infrastructure for strategy execution. And so I know very well the patterns of success in this space. And that's been pretty cool pulling out of this. Yes, the downsell. It's it seems like the whole idea is you want to go straight into your core offer and the upsell after this and downsell them if that doesn't work, and then go into a continuity offer. But I could be wrong. I've doubted some thought leaders in the past, specifically Wendy Cohn from the Business Architects Guild, and I'm a huge fan of her work. One of the ideas in her book, Strategy to Reality, that just set me back intellectually on business architecture for a while, was her claim that just enough, just in time production is the proven practice worldwide across industries and markets and everything else. And I just had a hard time believing that, because I saw how we had that massive 100x uplift on the production side. Sure, it was true a decade ago that you have a team of business architects. You can only produce so many artifacts. You can only derive so many insights, and that will actually generate deliverables. And given the old school days, like, it just wasn't possible. But now it is possible. Like, you can have robust repositories or knowledge bases produced in a fraction of the time for a fraction of the cost. And that's what we did. I referenced earlier about the full build out that we did of many venture maps and the inception point of Venture Map Elite. And what we learned is that it's possible. What we also learned is even though our production constraints have lifted, what hasn't changed is the available cognitive load on the part of our end users. That's to say, entrepreneurs, business owners, founders, these people don't have a lot of free headspace to sit down and conduct rigorous analysis. They, what we found is most of them barely are able to watch a 3-minute briefing video over the strategy that they have created for their business. Think about that. That's bizarre. A custom branded, colloquial, formatted, fully personalized business strategy that they have directly informed for their company. Most people have a hard time watching that whole thing and giving meaningful feedback. It's bizarre. So coming to terms with that has required a lot of reflection and reframing of expectations. And that being said, I think it's old news for us now. And we're at the place that says, hey, look, get it done in as painless of a manner as possible and move them into the actual doing of the things that they need to do and support with the accountability, the tracking, and structure for that. And then we'll get into sort of the next phase, which is do the stuff. So that's really where Operator is. And we do provide a pretty healthy amount of production support inside of Elite as, again, that on-ramp up to Operator to help validate. I'll just finish with this. A lot of people know the concept of a value ladder, and a lot of from the market, a market-facing standpoint for prospects, for leads, for the audience. It's okay, you want to build value with them, build reciprocity, establish yourself as a credible authority that understands their position and has a proven process and mechanism for transformation, all this stuff, right? But internally, traders, what we also want to do is pre-qualify and validate the fit for people, right? And we do that by placing little bits of friction and intentionally structured segmentation processes and other things to funnel people through, right? So you think, okay, we've got all sorts of awareness and we've got an opt-in, and the output from that is much smaller. You got a lot. The volume on this side is big. It cuts down the amount of total impressions to click-throughs to page views to opt-ins, and then from there within your lead nurture on mid-funnel sequence, there's variations and the numbers go down, right? How many opens of your emails, how many bookings essentially is what it comes down to. And then showings and closing, right? So those things are that you can have adjacent paths running, but just, I guess maybe I'm defaulting to simplicity, but my thinking has just always been, I don't necessarily want to sell the $10,000 offer to someone I just met. Frankly, I don't know if I even want to sell a $1,000 offer to somebody I just met. I would much rather give them the insane amount of value to a $100 a month community and build their trust over 3 months. It's just a natural progression into $1,000 a month. And that's a natural progression, them upgrading to annual. Or then, okay, they've paid $100 a month for the last 6 months. They paid $1,000 a month for the last 3 months. Now they're going annual. That's the first time they've ever paid 5 figures. Now there's some familiarity with paying $10,000 at one time. Hey, all this additional free stuff that I gave you, we can do that on a regular basis for you and with all these bonuses. So that's just an extra $1,000 a month. Okay, now they paid $10,000 for the year and they got a bunch of free stuff, and that free stuff runs out. Hey, you can keep that stuff going. We'll just do it. That would be $1,000 for the content machine as an example. And then it's okay, now their LTV is just continuing to grow because they're paying something like $1,800 a month, $1,900 a month if you were to break it down in that way, or annualized $1,000 a year, something like that. Beyond, I think we're going to push for that LTV of people who go through into the core offer is $25,000 annually. And the people at the higher end will be very small, invite only folks that we work with at a like fractional level. Anyways, I guess I share that because that people feel stupid saying no, and they accomplish a lot of what I've discussed previously, which is enabling product development and deriving meaningful insights from your target audience, from your customer base, helping you push you into leveraging emerging technologies to refine operational processes and actually solve problems for people in the real world. That's super important. Just speaking from the standpoint of the service provider, we also really want to work with people that we work best with, have people self-select that they're interested in what we're representing. In that same way, we want to have some level of that allows them to self-select, self-identify that they're going to be a really great partner for us. And it's not just that they have the buying power and the interest, but the culture fit, the values alignment, technical proficiency, those things are really important, especially for what the kind of work we do. So that's a walkthrough. If anyone's interested, I'll post some of these gammas and I'll start creating training stuff for myself on this, and I'm happy to share it with the group. But what will eventually happen once I wrap my mind around this data tracking mechanism, this like constraint crusher identifies and the constraint and playbook, and also we'll have the metrics clearly identified at the relevant spot in the map. I'll share that with everybody as I go. And it'll be interesting to contrast it with the SaaS sales methodology stuff. Yeah, so that's all for now. Appreciate you guys as always. If you want to use the ACQ AI, go ahead and give it a shot. I'm going to be doing my next batch here tomorrow or the next day probably. So get in quick and drop your prompts in here. You'll also see actually since the last time we've done this, I've added an ACQ AI channel. So got Joe here out in France who's dropped this in. So anyone else who wants free usage of this $6,000 AI product from Alex Ramosi, it's all yours. And keep an eye out. We've got some updates, the calendar. I stopped what we were doing because I've got an updated vision on how to make it more clean and noisy. I don't want to ever be spammy. I want to have just real solid signal that's compelling, but I think we'll basically start adding daily elements in here that'll actually move the needle. All righty. Thanks again for watching. And if you like this video, go ahead and let me know. That'll be really helpful. Let me know what you want to see more of, and I'll pick back up in the next one. See you then.